get influenced by your dad, even if it's something bad, like you get influenced and you become your dad. That was part of the song. Like you got this toxic cycle. Yeah.
In this video, I am joined by my bonus son, Oakley.
Hello.
Oakley's 13, and he enjoys helping on the podcast and on the reaction videos when he's around, and I love his thoughts and his opinion. So thank you so much for joining us, Oakley. Yeah. This video was really fun because I got to see a totally new artist that I had never been exposed to before, and I have all of you to thank for it. Thank you so much for recommending powerful songs for me to react to. It's been amazing, and it's actually helped that my head has been kind of dug in the sand when it's come to new music, because it's truly new artists and songs that I've never heard of before, and I love that. This song speaks to some of the toxic masculinity in our culture, and I hope that the message really resonates with you.
Don't forget to like, subscribe, and put your comments down, and don't forget to share with people.
As always, we're honored to have you as part of our delightfully dysfunctional family. And be sure to check out some of our podcast episodes as well, where James and I discuss a range of mental...
This is a total blind react for me. Yeah. Have you heard the song before?
No.
Okay. Yeah, because at first I thought he was like... I realized that he was like basically saying what like society's standards are for men. But at first I thought it was saying like your feelings don't matter. I'm like, wait, what? You know?
Oh, okay. But, yeah. Oh man, I think that men have been put on such a narrow path, and I love that this song is just cracking all of that messaging right open and putting it out there. Mm-hmm. And I'd imagine this is relatable for the majority of men, really, that they feel as though it's just their worth, or that they're restricted. They have to restrict their emotions. A lot of men have been trained, or it's been beaten out of them to not be able to experience the whole range of emotion that they have. You know, boys don't cry, and there's a lot of messaging, even if that isn't the home that you grew up in, honestly, which is so unfortunate because you're human.
Yeah.
You're human, and these are things that you need to human well.
Right. Well, and I think that one of the worst things that you can like encourage somebody to do is to minimize their feelings and to like create like almost a habit of suppression, because that always, like, those feelings don't just go away. The best way to deal with like your impulses and your feelings is to lean in and like grow like wisdom and resilience to them. You know, but you have to like greet them and understand them and where they're coming from. So yeah, the whole idea of just suppression, which has been rampant with male culture since the beginning of human civilization, is toxic.
Right? Like the last couple hundred years, but I don't know. I wonder what that looked like when we were all in tribes.
Yeah, maybe there was some vulnerability.
Right? Like, we don't have a peek into what the emotional aspect was there necessarily.
Yeah, I guess that's true.
I don't know. I really like thinking about history. I like thinking about our evolution as humans and all of those phases. And there certainly are cultures where it is more normalized. So, you know, like there's cultures even currently where that's more normalized, where like men who are friends walk down the sidewalk holding hands. And that's normal. It just means like, kind of like I care about you as a person. It's just a friendly thing to do. Another line in this song was that I think it was that either men can either only love or care about just women, children, and dogs. And I think back to so many of my clients who've shared that either they never saw their dad cry, or that it was only when their mother died. It was only when their dog died. Like there were just these tiny moments where tears squeaked through that barrier.
Yeah.
And the idea of just forcing yourself to hold that all in, because every time you're suppressing that emotion, there's that message of like, basically, don't be human. Don't let yourself feel it. Don't let that the sign of weakness show, and it's not weak.
Right.
So we've been conditioned to believe that it is, and to share that message, and it's a lie. And I actually think that women women need to shift. There are some women who still believe that, and yet they want a man to be emotionally connected and to have an emotional intimacy. You have to allow for your man to also feel and experience all emotions and to experience what it's like to be cherished.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts as a man, James?
No, I agree. One of my biggest failures was that I didn't allow nearness, and I remember thinking that I would be burdening people with my feelings. So like my now ex-wife, I remember. I wanted to spare her from the pain that I was dealing with. So like as the protector, I thought, okay, well she's already dealing with the kids and everything, so I don't want to like stress her out. But really that created a lack of nearness, because I think that women want a glimpse into their husband's brain and what's going on. Yeah,
is into me. See, like I see you.
I love that. Oh my gosh.
I see who you are and why, and I think it's something all around. We as a society, no matter the gender or gender expression, need to work on when it comes to allowing that space.
Yeah.
So far, I also think it's incredibly powerful that it's coming from a Black man.
Yeah.
Because in that culture, showing emotion can be even more harshly criticized at times.
Yeah.
Wow, there was those lyrics that were also talking about going to war and addiction too. And I've mentioned this before in other videos. So often addiction is the numbing of that pain.
Yeah.
It's the escape from that pain, of the stress, of the pressure, of that burden. And boy, we could go on and on when it comes to veterans. My gosh, my first husband was a veteran. If you don't know, I've been remarried, a wonderful man named Zach, but I experienced the hardship of what that type of trauma does to a person. And it's heartbreaking. It's heartbreaking, and it can feel so isolating. So I guess this song to me is really sharing these really isolated aspects of being a man that are not often talked about.
Yeah.
But I'm not a man.
Well, I was listening to a book this morning called Healing. I think it's called Healing the Inner Child. And what's funny is that most people, I feel like we overlook that they actually also have an inner child, and then you think of like the nature of a boy, and boys want to wrestle and be rough and dirty and stuff, but then they also have they have a sensitive side, and little boys will express that, they get their feelings hurt and stuff, and like we're there to coddle them and encourage them, but for some reason, some point in their life, when men become boys, it's almost like we're told, like, no, the child it has to go away. You can't be a child anymore. You have to be a man. But it's like, it doesn't matter if you say that or if you believe that. You carry the inner child with you regardless. So then men become impulsive when they're older because that inner child is still acting out. So it's like, yeah, that's something that for me, I'm like, oh yeah, there is still that little boy in me, And speaking of children, perfect segue. I'm going to switch spots with our producer for the day, Oakley.
Oh, yes. Oakley is my bonus son, and he is here with us today. If you've been a long time viewer and listener, then you know Oakley a bit because he joined us in a previous episode, and we will link that for you. But he is just a gem of a person, and I want to know what you think, too, because here we have another young man. He's 13 years old. What did you think about that video, Oakley?
Well, I liked it. I can understand like a lot of things. I've heard a lot of things like what James was talking about, like how we carry on with like the kid, and people tell you have to become a man. They say like how he said you have to get rid of the kid, but a lot of people, I actually been told this once, that you have to kill the kid to become a man. Like you have to forget about the past.
Oh,
But
my.
all the things you've learned about that.
Yeah. And you're in this in-between phase
Yeah.
at 13. 1 foot in kind of the teenage, adult years, and 1 foot still in childhood. That's a
Yeah.
little complicated sometimes.
And like, I know that people like at this age, people tell me that I'm at this age I have to prove my self-worth for people, which is a thing. It's like you have to tell like these are your most important age because you have to prove your self-worth. That's what people tell me. Like,
I'm sorry that you've been told that. I hope you haven't been told that from us,
No.
because that's not the message we want to
But-
give you at all. I think that being a man or even a woman has to do more with taking on more responsibility, but it shouldn't mean that you have to cut off how you feel.
yeah, I do find those things kind of like I wouldn't take those things seriously because I mean like
Yeah.
that the kid is something you've grown up with. That's
Yeah.
if you have good things, it like makes you thrive. Like depending on how you were raised, it can be great, or sometimes it can be really hard. But that can like, it can like make it your future because like a lot of people they had different environments, but they grew up to be like great people. They did great things.
Yeah. Yeah. So what you grew up with doesn't determine who you become.
Yeah.
That's very true. Do you think that you've had some good examples of men in your life?
Yeah, my dad.
Yeah. Can we brag about him a little bit? Is that okay? He's pretty great, right? What do we like about him? What do you think makes him a good man, makes him someone in our home that he's strong, but he also has his full range of emotion.
And he treats everybody as equals. Which is great.
Yeah, it is great. I think that there were some lines in that song about like having a good male role model for a son being really important,
Yeah.
but also for a daughter, right? And here we also have little Priya in our family who's 2.5. I often think, wow, she kind of hit the daddy jackpot because she's going to have a pretty good idea of what a good man is like. And I should also add, you're an awesome example for her too. Look, she hit the double jackpot.
Get influenced by your dad, even if it's something bad. Like you get influenced and you
Yeah.
become your dad. That was part of the song. Like you got this toxic cycle. Yeah,
Right.
Like,
It's true because kids
get
look up to
traits.
their dad,
yeah.
the good and the bad. So I think a message maybe that we might have for some of our listeners is, boy, I hope that you grew up with a positive male role model. But I also hope that if you're a man listening to this, that some of what we're sharing touches you and lets you take some bricks out of the wall, lets you know that it's okay to feel that full spread of emotion. This was a triple reaction, so that was fun. You got a
Yeah.
female perspective, a male perspective, and a kid perspective. Thank you so much for joining us, Oakley.
Yeah.
Please like, subscribe, and share our videos with someone that you know who could benefit from these reactions. This isn't a replacement for therapy, but it is my sincere hope that it helps you feel a sense of connection and belonging in this world where there is so much loneliness. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.